charges of murder and felony murder and multiple counts of burglary, robbery, theft, and other charges has been filed against Larry Taylor Jr. He is charged with the knowing or intentional killing of Amanda Blackburn, as well as 2 counts of felony murder. In addition, Jalen Watson has been charged with felony murder and likewise multiple counts of burglary, robbery, theft, and other charges. As set forth in the probable cause, which will be distributed to you, it is alleged that Taylor, Watson, and Deano Gordon committed a burglary on November 10th at 5756 San Clemente Drive. The 3 are then further alleged to have committed a second burglary at 2830 Sunnyfield Court, and ultimately to have then committed a third burglary at 2812 Sunnyfield Court, the Blackburn residence. The charges filed today are the result of a significant investigation undertaken by IMPD and other agencies, and Chief Height will speak to that.
Thank you, Mr. Curry. Excuse me, pardon my voice, I'm losing my voice, and with sinus nasal issue. We're proud of the fact that we've been able to combine efforts again with our law enforcement partners. We promised you a little over 13, 14 days ago that we would go after those violent individuals in our community, and particularly in this crime, using a variety of techniques and also a variety of agencies. We want to thank the federal agencies that are represented here, the state, and of course, the finest men and women IMPD. The detectives work tirelessly without sleep, long hours. We put in a lot of time to make sure we bring justice. But not just in this case, there are other cases still pending. As we're talking about the success of the prosecutor's office. There have been 34 cases, murder cases they brought forth, and there are several more in the hopper. We want people to understand that we're serious about bringing back the issue of peace and tranquility to our neighborhoods. We're going to need community to continue to support us, but we're also going to continue to maintain our partnership and make sure you understand we're serious about the mission of making us safe. I thank the U.S. Marshal, and particularly Marshal Forthall and his people, for making sure we bring people to justice as well. And at this point, I'd like to bring up Deputy Chief Law of Investigations.
Good afternoon. As the chief and the prosecutor indicated, 13 days ago, there was a horrendous crime that occurred over on the northwest side of town. We didn't get here today by just using one individual or 2 individuals. We got here today with the collective effort of many, many people involved in IMPD as well as outside agencies. As the chief indicated, we want to thank our prosecutors first and foremost, Denise Robinson, who was with us almost the entire time of this investigation, helping us and leading us through the prosecutor's office. Also, U.S. Marshal's office, the U.S. Marshal's task force, especially thanks to U.S. Marshal Kerry Forrestall for allowing his people to assist us in this operation. Director Medler from the Marion County Crime Lab was instrumental in helping us with the forensics of this case. But I can't stress enough the detectives that were assigned this case from the very beginning, how hard they worked, how tirelessly they worked, without sleep, without going home, without food, and I want to recognize them today. Detective Tom Lynn of the Homicide Branch as our lead detective, and Detective Kepler, who assisted Detective Lynn almost day and night for the 13 days that they worked on this case. The leadership of Captain Craig Converse of the Homicide Branch, there's no one better. His leadership and his willingness to be here all hours, day and night, and assist his detectives is just remarkable. But there's one group of people that hasn't been mentioned, and that is the community in which the Blackburns lived in. The community from day one was very helpful, instrumental, in why we're here today. They came forward with information, came forward with some video surveillance, but was helpful in our canvasses, and we want to stress that because there are some open cases here in Marion County from this year, and we would stress the fact that we need the community involvement. Without their involvement, without what they see, what they hear, we can't be as successful as we are. So I encourage community leaders and community crime watch coordinators where these incidents occur, come forward. Call Crime Stoppers, because we have detectives standing by all the time, ready to go. And this is one case in many this year, but we are still working tirelessly on the other open cases that we have from this year. But again, I want to thank our lead detective and the whole homicide branch. I forgot one person. It's Sergeant Hess from the U.S. Marshals Task Force. He was with us from day one, also helping in some technical areas. So thank you again to the men and women from the homicide branch, and we appreciate their hard work. Thank you.
Kerry?
Thank you. It was important for the task force that it's a collaborative effort. It's not a standalone marshal service. It's the task force from IMPD, from sheriff's departments, from around the state, Greenwood. You've got Delaware County. Approximately 86,000 arrests are made throughout the nation of the task force, and this is but one significant one today. And work from special people like Sergeant Mark Hess from IMPD, Deputy Marshal Jeremy Clinton from the Marshal Service. Their skills and their relentless work for the last 13 days have brought this case, along with our partners, to a conclusion. Thank you.
We will take any questions you have.
Terry, do you suspect charging anyone else? I know you talked about the third guy. It doesn't appear that he's been charged at this point. Do you perceive there will be charges against him relative to this case?
Yeah, there have not been any charges filed at this time, but certainly if completing the investigation warrants additional charges, that could very well be the case, yes.
What led you in the probable cause? What led you to these particular two individuals as your suspect? According to probable
Yeah,
cause?
and obviously can't speak beyond the probable cause, but I think as you review the probable cause, the first significant break was a DNA CODIS hit that tied Mr. Watson to what was believed to be the sweater or T-shirt that covered the face of the individual who was utilizing the bank card of Amanda Blackburn.
Were these two people arrested with the same ones that were questioned last week?
Yes.
For Detective Len, can you indicate to us that this was just, I'm assuming from my reading of this, a pattern where one case led to another? You start looking at Blackburn, but then all these other cases start falling into place? Come to the microphone.
Yes, sir. It started with the initial burglary, and evidence from that burglary led us to the subsequent burglaries and the homicide.
And then what is basically, are we looking at a pattern, a crime wave, a spur of the moment, somebody's going to have a real violent 6 hours? What was this?
Opportunity, I think. They took the opportunity to take one burglary, it led to another, and in doing the others, it led to the opportunity to do the last one.
Why would they have targeted the Blackburn neighborhood? Were any of your suspects known to that neighborhood, or that neighborhood known to them?
They're from the northwest side. Why they targeted that specific neighborhood, I don't know.
Had they ever been in that neighborhood before doing handyman work, lawn work, frequent in that neighborhood?
I can't answer that, I don't know.
Can you take us through what happened to the time they came into the house to the time they left?
I cannot, sir, I'm sorry.
Terry, I count two potential aggravators here for a capital case. Do you have a decision yet on that time, or what happens?
No. Certainly the knowing or intentional killing in conjunction with the burglary or robbery would be, as you indicated, potential aggravators. But we will follow the same procedure we do in every single case, which is that we will review those considerations no earlier than 30 days down the road.
Will that discussion be held with the Pastor Davey Blackburn, whether or not you should move forward and seek the
Yes, in every single case where homicides where there are aggravating factors that would justify consideration of life without parole or the death penalty, we follow the same procedure every single time. We meet internally in our office to review the case, to determine strengths or weaknesses of the case, and we meet with the family, and then we ultimately make a decision rather than making that decision based upon snap judgment.
How much weight does the family have on you making that final decision, Terry?
We take into consideration the family wishes, but there have certainly been instances in the past where we have made a decision that was inconsistent with what the parties wished us to do.
Are these the only two people that police think were involved in the incident?
Well, it's certainly alleged in the probable cause that Mr. Gordon participated in the burglaries, and if charges are to be filed against Mr. Gordon, we'll address that over the next week. In all likelihood, he is being held for alleged parole violation already, and so he's not going anywhere. We will make that decision probably yet this week.
Terry, there was a lot of suspicion out there that quite possibly the Blackburns knew their attackers or had some type of connection to them. Can you say that is not the case here today? This was totally random.
I think it's fair to say there's no reason to believe that's the case.
How long was Taylor inside the home with Ms. Blackburn?
I don't believe that that's set forth in the probable cause, and so
Do you have any idea?
that's not something we can address. It's not in the public record.
Terry, you talked about the cooperation of the neighborhood. Can you talk about the cooperation of any of the individuals or people who knew them?
I think it's fair to say that the investigators interviewed any number of people, and beyond what's set forth in the probable cause, I can't speak to that.
Terry, what sort of impact, if any, did the search warrant that was served at the cottages of Fall Creek and the evidence that was seized at that location play in identifying the suspects and or leading to their arrests?
Yeah, I really can't speak to anything other than what's in the probable cause. And whatever has been utilized from interviews, from the searches set forth in the probable cause, I can't speak beyond that.
How do you know these two are the murderers?
Well, all we can do at this point is go forward on the allegations set forth in the probable cause. Rule provided by the court is certainly alleged in the probable cause that Mr. Taylor is the person who committed the killing.
This question is for Laura. You made mention about some communities.
You mean Chief Laura?
Yeah, Chief Laura. Excuse me. Chief Laura, you made mention of some communities, specifically you talked about the Blackburn community, really helping out. Are you not getting that same help in some other communities with the homicides in the city?
I wouldn't characterize it as we're not getting that help. What I was trying to stress is the fact that we need the community's help. The community in the Blackburn neighborhood was helpful from the day one, were accessible to us. And what I'm trying to stress here is that we need the community's help in all these cases. And people do know what happened in their neighborhood, and we have unsolved homicides in this city, and people know who's involved, and we are encouraging people to come forward so we can bring these cases to justice.
Chief Laura, what do you
I think it's important to note too, real quick, and this is not the first time we've been on this road. We had, I remember Baby Delano case, we had federal partners helping to bring that case to justice. Dominic Allen is a good example, the 15-year-old was set ablaze in those cases. I think it's unfair to characteristically say that the community doesn't help us because we had a 30% increase in Crime Stopping tips alone. But what we're saying is, don't stop. Keep calling, keep making us aware. We have a great prosecutor, great team doing their work, but now we have to have community come forth and provide additional information.
Chief, can you
Yeah,
talk
and
about...
I would like to add in response, Julian, to your question, and to go back to what Chief Hyde said, and that is, you know, I think it's unfortunate that there is a perception that we in public safety would care about one crime over another, which is simply not the truth. Certainly from our office perspective, from a police agency perspective, we take every single crime seriously. And I don't mean this to be critical of anyone, but to the extent that there then becomes a perception that that's the case, it's driven by the narrative from the press, from all of you. What Chief Hyde alluded to is, in this calendar year, our office has had 34 murder and attempt murder trials in this year alone thus far. I'm willing to bet that there are representatives, no representatives of any of the agencies here today, the press outlets, that attended or reported on virtually any of those trials. And so, you know, I think it was important that we send the message that we consider every single crime that occurs, and particularly any violent crime that occurs, just as seriously as the others. And you know, I'm not being critical. I understand the circumstances that all of you consider certain situations newsworthy, but from our perspective, they're all just as serious.